We are Makilala TV, the first Filipino-American TV talk show in the New York metro area. Get to know us as we talk to the community leaders, innovators, advocates, and emerging artists who affect Filipino-American life. According to the National Center for Family and Marriage, the U.S. divorce rate dropped for the third year in a row, reaching its lowest point in nearly 40 years. Now, the Philippines is a different story. It is the only country other than Vatican City that divorce is not legal. Under Philippine law, infidelity and physical abuse are surprisingly not on the list of appropriate reasons for a marriage to be declared invalid. And so the idea of not allowing divorce stemmed from the country's influential power of the Catholic Church, which has then impacted Philams here in the U.S. Divorce is still seen as taboo, and here at Makilala TV, we wanted to dive into the life of a divorcee. What prompts divorces? Any backlash from the family or the community? I, Rachelle Ocampo, am joined with my co-hosts Jen Fuhrer and Cristina Pastor as we ask Ferlie Almonte about her life after divorce. There is no simple way to introduce our multi-talented, gregarious, and dynamic guest. Ferlie Almonte is a visionary who has taken her heart-wrenching personal catastrophes in life, including a long-term disability, being divorced, finding love again, only to be widowed within 8 months of her wedding day, and then turned it into a global brand and a life mission. What's amazing is how Ferlie uses her wisdom and experiences to inspire and empower others through her motivational speaking, her life coaching, image consulting, life reinvention workshops, and books that she has written. Today, she'll share some nuggets of wisdom on how someone who has gone through divorce or loss of loved one can move forward in life with resilience and find love again. So Ferlie, tell us, what prompted you to getting a divorce?
Okay, first of all, I come from a Catholic family, and
yes.
of course, I did my best not to repeat history by being a broken home. Mm-hmm. However, there comes a point in your life when your values do not align anymore. Your priorities change, and that the person you thought you were going to marry and spend the rest of your life with completely changed. Not that we are actually looking to keep the same person that we married during our teens or something like that, but there are times that they just evolve into a person that no longer align with the values that we hold dear in our lives.
How long were you married?
I was married for 11 years.
11 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
That's a long time to realize that this is no longer the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with.
What were
right?
like the red flags, or like, this is not where I imagine as a happy married life?
On my wedding day.
Oh my God, really?
Wow, you waited 11 years.
What?
Yeah,
Before or after the bed? Oh my gosh.
I actually, on the wedding reception.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
So
sure
after the I do's.
after the I
Okay.
do's. And the whole, I know,
you
right?
could have been a runaway bride.
I know.
Well, you know what? Thinking back, if I were the same type of person I now am back then, I probably would not have gone through with it because there were a number of red flags. However, you have already invested on the wedding.
Yeah.
There's a deposit. I know you're engaged.
Keep that in mind.
Exactly, and then families have flown from the Philippines, and I didn't want it to be an embarrassment.
Okay.
And so you keep praying that things will change.
Okay.
And sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
People don't really change. But you mentioned in the Philippines there are no divorce, and even though Filipino come to America and they still have those values, it's hard for them to change gear and say, okay, my daughter's not happy, and maybe it's okay to have a divorce. But you're going through a difficult time yourself, and then you have to worry about other people how they react when you make that final decision.
There
Exactly.
are a lot of pressures. What were the red flags? I'm curious. Like, what were like the little things or the big things that really snapped?
Lies.
Oh.
You know, like there were a number of lies that you know are very transparent, but you overlook. When you're in love,
Yeah.
you know when they say like love is blind, right? I think love refuses to see more often than not. And as I have said, during the time you are in a fairy tale la la land, wishing for your happy ending. You know how they like how do they say like happy ever after, that type of thing.
Did you get to know each other before? Did you get to know each other
Very
well?
little, actually.
Okay.
And I would tell this to everyone out there watching and listening. Take time to get to know each other. And when you go out dating, ask relevant questions. Don't just ask what your favorite color is, what movie or music you want.
What
Ask
are the
them-
relevant questions you
like
would ask?
ask them
I think
situational
sometimes
questions.
you have to live together. I mean,
No,
I'm
you
probably
have
going
to
to be
live
in
with each
trouble
other. Yeah,
with
that's-
another Filipino tradition.
Right.
Because you don't really know each other until you've lived together.
You know, like just like job interviews, right? Now they don't ask you factual questions. I ask you situational questions. How would you handle it? Because
Yeah.
it will get you into the psyche of the person that you're trying to get to know. You will understand how their mindset is, where their values align with yours.
Yeah.
Those are things that are very important right now to get to know one another, because once you get married, it's not as easy. I was married for 11 years, and that is because I believe in giving people second chances. Why not? You
Or
work
third
it out.
chances,
Third
or
chances,
fourth
fourth chances. You know, the whole point is that we are different people. It's not easy to blend together. And I think more mature people will give more allowances for the shortcomings. But
So
there
your
comes a
husband,
point.
Ferlie, is Filipino.
Yes.
And you got divorced here in the
Yes.
U.S.
Yes.
Is it any better than separating in the Philippines?
Well-
or is the family social, cultural pressure the same?
Now, let me put it this way. My mother was married to my father, you know, until obviously until the day they both passed on at 58 years old. You know, tragically, my mother died of ovarian cancer. My father 6 months after that by lung cancer. But they were no longer together.
Okay.
In the Philippines, we all know there is no such thing as divorce. So there's legal separation, but they did not even go through that. They
Back
just
then,
basically, they lived apart, and we were raised primarily by my mother and my amazing relatives, both on both sides. So thank you very much. I'm very grateful for that. I'm just giving you a shout out.
So in your case,
So in my case, I did not want to repeat that history. So my mother had to stay with that, and she actually held her vow to stay faithful until the day she died.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, while my father had moved on. And so I did not want to repeat that history. Now, being married here in the States, and, I have the option now to have a
are
divorce.
you married here in the States?
I was married here in the States.
okay.
Now, there was something else that you had, I'm not sure who had questioned, but how does it impact the future generation? My daughter, she came to me one day and says, Mom, she was little, I think she was first grade. Mom, your parents were separated. You and Dad are divorced. Does that mean that will be me too?
Ah, okay.
So, because now she's trying to recognize a pattern.
Yeah.
And this was my answer to her. Marriage takes work. It's not always fairy tale. It's not always a bed of roses. It takes work, commitment, communication, and many other things that I'm sure you
That's
will agree.
compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very important. Do everything you can. Leave no stone unturned.
Yeah.
But I want you to know that if things could not be worked on anymore, that you have a choice.
Yes.
An option.
So, in life right now, it's all about choices we make for ourselves. Whether we get widowed, whether we get divorced, whether it was just a breakup from from our sweethearts.
Yeah.
It's a choice that we make in life. You don't have to get stuck in your misery. Don't marinate in your misery. You hear that?
Seriously, yes.
Really,
Yeah.
it's all about choices in life. Life is what you make it.
But
I know
sometimes it's hard for a person. I mean, let's say you're in your 20s, right, and you're going through divorce, or you think like you got married early, you have children, and you have a Filipino, you're Catholic, you're Filipina. the divorce alone is such that tragic. Like you say, you're not in love anymore, or there are no ambition together, or you don't see each other living together. To make the decision to switch from being married to being divorced in a Filipino American family, that in itself is so difficult. I mean, when I went through my divorce, my kids were really young. I remember relatives saying, "Oh, your children will be a statistic." And there was one time a family member or a relative or a close friend came over to the house and kind of did a prayer exorcism because they think that's part of. I mean, that was like 25 to whatever years
My
ago.
gosh.
But it's.
Wow.
It's different, and I guess but before making a decision to get divorced, they could see that you're not happy,
Yeah.
it's not going through. But once you make that decision,
It's easy to make a decision if you are, I think, if the woman is financially independent. But if the woman depends on the husband for her livelihood,
Yeah.
then the decision to separate would take a lot of thinking. And she probably would be better off staying in that kind of a marriage.
You know,
just to
but then
survive.
it's not good for the children.
It's not good for the
Everybody
children,
says you
right, yeah.
stay because of the children.
children.
But then it's not good. But I don't want us to talk about divorce because we want to move on after divorce. So
Right,
because
right.
divorce itself is hard. So how do you move on past that one? It's a horrible experience.
So Ferlie, after the 11 years, and you decided, okay, you know what, enough is enough. The 107th time that he lied, I think this is it. What was like the last straw, and what did you do after
Yeah.
to overcome it?
Well, when he stayed mostly in the Philippines, and I could not find, at that time there was no cell phones.
Oh, okay.
You know, and I did not know where he was, if
Oh,
he
okay.
already was, if he already moved on with a family, if he was
Okay.
still alive. I did not believe that was the kind of marriage I wanted, because I was left with all the responsibilities to take care of, taking care of my child, taking care of my in-laws, who I loved very, very much because they were really wonderful people.
Are you still in good terms with them?
They both passed on.
Oh, okay.
But I'm still in good terms with my ex-in-laws.
Oh, okay.
And they understand and they respect me for what I've done also, because it was a tough decision. But in life, you know, it's a stigma to go through a divorce. But nowadays it's a little easier now, because it's not like 20 years ago when you are labeled,
That's right.
you know, like a
Almost
failed
like an
marriage,
outcast,
right?
like,
Like
yeah.
it's like your marriage have failed, like something.
Like you
there's-
didn't try
Try
hard
hard
enough.
yeah. Right. Nowadays, people are a lot more open. So how do you move on from that? First of all, it takes a decision on your part not to marinate in your misery any longer, so that your fear of the unknown of, maybe I'm going to get heartbroken again, maybe somebody's going to
Yeah.
hurt me again. Your fear of where you are right now should be bigger than your fear of the unknown. So if you realize that you are unhappy, you feel broken, you feel unappreciated, unloved, and we people, men or women, we yearn to be loved, to be appreciated, to have somebody to grow old with.
Ferlie, tell us about your current partner, Christine. How did you meet? And tell us how that happened. And did you have an inkling that you would be open to a different kind, non-traditional relationship?
Okay, that's actually a very good question. First of all, after I got divorced, obviously, I went through also another diversity in my life. I got disabled. And then I prayed like I've never prayed before, for another chance at life and another chance at love. So after I have been through a nasty divorce, I had a very long disability. I found life, a second chance at life and another chance at marriage. And so I actually found someone who I adored and loved very deeply. Tragically, I lost her to pancreatic cancer within 8 months of our wedding day.
And this is a woman.
And this is a woman.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not a stranger to gay relationships, because even in the Philippines, there is, when you go to the same-sex school,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
all girls,
Catholic
all boys
schools,
school,
right, yeah.
it's almost like
Understanding.
it was a very normal thing to
Yeah,
have
yeah.
an on, we call it.
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. It was no big deal. And so it was not strange or new to me. As a matter of fact, okay, I'm on national TV right now. I even say that I am actually born lipstick lesbian because
What's that?
Define that for us.
Every episode we have a lipstick revelation.
I've never heard of
No, what I'm saying is that personally, I am more attracted to a woman rather than I am to a man.
Oh.
However, I had a beautiful marriage at some point with the father of my child because I wanted to feel what it's like to be normal.
Oh.
Okay, so I was faithful at the time, and I was married for 11 years. I did my best to keep it together. However, I felt also, but that was not the cause of the divorce. That was not the cause of the divorce. My awakening to the same-sex relationship, again, actually, was a mindful choice because I felt at that point of my life that I could relate better. There was a bigger, deeper emotional and spiritual connection between us. And I'm sure many of the women who are in my community who are listening right now would agree that at a certain point in your life, what you're craving for is connection. When you find that connection, like you feel like you're understood, that you feel that you are appreciated and loved the way you need to be, then magic happens. And love is love, and I am blissfully happy right now to my, being married for 5 years now to my spouse, Cristina Cipriano.
Yeah.
And so after being widowed, it was heartbreaking, but miracles do happen. And for as long as you keep your heart open to inviting love again into your space, without fear of being judged by people around you. I'm sure you guys know that you are surrounded by people who will judge you for your choices.
How do you deal with the judgment?
You don't.
Was it your faith that helped you moved on? I mean, it seems like you went through a tough divorce, and then you realized you go into a different direction, and then your partner passed away. And at one point, I mean, is it because of faith, and then you met your soulmate now, if I can call Cristina soulmate? And is it because of faith that helped you moved on? Or, because some people I know that go through that tragedy, they lose faith. They go like, okay, why did God,
I think in her case, it's dispositional also, because she has that character, she has that vibrancy, dynamism that.
Thank you. You
Some
guys are so sweet. I love this moment. Let me bask
not
on
a lot of people have, but she has that.
But thank you so much for that.
Positive outlook on life.
Perspective. The power of perspective in life. It's a mindful choice that you make. And always partner with God. During those moments that I feel like I'm lost or I'm feeling weaker, I surrender to God. I ask God for guidance. I say my prayer, and I remain grateful, not resentful, despite the many tragedies I've had in my life.
You're a Catholic, Ferlie, right?
Yes, I am. But I am also ecumenical. I embrace every religion. We believe in one God. And I believe in kindness and in humanity. So yes, to answer your question, faith, if you're going through hell in your life right now, seek God.
What do you advise to people who lost a loved one, didn't get to say goodbye, and kind of like blames God that, when kind of like not really blame God, it's like you kind of lose faith that why did it happen to me? I'm a young, I would say young married wife, and then now he's gone, and people are saying, it's just have a little faith, but then you're like angry. How do you get past that anger?
It's easier said than done to say, to just let it go, because we all have different ways of coping
You should
with
just
loss.
sing Let It Go, sorry.
Let it go.
Yes.
By the way, Ferlie also sings.
I know.
So what I'm saying is that I wish there was a magic pill, but there are many different ways you can cope with it. That's why there's grief counseling. There are also therapists who can specifically support you in that. And then you cannot tell somebody that it would take this amount of time.
Yeah, because it's different.
It's
every
different, like
person's
every single,
different.
and we have to honor and respect their feelings.
What about Ferlie? What about your daughter? How did she help you? cope?
With what?
Your
With
daughter.
with
Your
all of my
daughter.
adversity. Okay, first of all,
Your list.
with my list of I thank God each day for my daughter Brandolyn, because she is probably one of the most open-minded, beautiful souls I've been blessed to have. Because during the time that with my divorce, I was very surprised. She was, I think,
Very
kindergarten.
calm.
Okay, this is a good one. We were in McDonald's, and then one day she just asked me, "Mom, are you and Dad still married?" I was not prepared for that. Oh my God. And it's like, well, so in my mind, I have to find a nice way to say to a child what was going on. I said, sometimes when parents who love you very dearly find it better to not live together anymore. Oh, and then she said just like my friends Amanda and Emily, their parents are divorced. I did not even say the word divorce.
Why would you
Yeah.
ask these
Well,
kinds of
we do have to begin closing.
We will continue later.
Yes, we do have to begin closing, and I do want to ask you one last question. To share one piece of advice for those who are going or who are on the fence of getting out of an unhealthy relationship. So you did go through 11 years of marriage. What do you have? What piece of advice do you have for those people who are on the fence of getting out of an unhealthy relationship?
Protect your serenity. If it does not feel right, if your values do not align, if deep inside of you don't feel fulfilled, get out of it. Because you need to, you need to not settle, never sell out, and own your value, because each one of us deserve to be happy.
Yes.
And it can only happen if you open your heart and your soul to finding love again.
I feel like
I know. Thank you so much, Ferlie.
Thanks, Ferlie.
So you can find out more about Ferlie and her story and her services at www.ferliealmonte.com. You could also see some of her books here on display. Thank you again to Manhattan Neighborhood Network for sharing Makilala TV. Maraming salamat to our Makilala TV team. Thanks again to our special guest, Ferlie Almonte, and of course to all of our viewers for your continued support. Be sure to catch us on Facebook, YouTube, or on MNN's Culture Channel 4 every other Thursday at 7:30 or 9 p.m. I'd like to now close the episode with a very special performance by Take the Stage, a well-known Philam band which was formed by two brothers, Hans Garcia and Shanne Garcia, and joined by Juan Ezekiel Calonzo, their cousin, who plays as the bassist. Take the Stage is also an active supporter of a nonprofit organization based in the Philippines called Feed Hungry Minds, who mainly help kids in the Philippines to provide food, book supplies, and clothing. Part of the proceeds for any paid shows that they get goes to their mission. Let's hear it for Take the Stage as they perform their original song called Sell.
Am I supposed to wait for opportunities to sell my soul, make it up possible?